Thank you, Kristen. Appreciate that and appreciate hosting us here at Hemlock where they're doing some incredible work. But also appreciative of so many partners that are here as we tell the powerful story of what we can do. And that's what this CHIPS Act is all about. Today, obviously, we're at Hemlock Semiconductor, one of Michigan's most innovative companies, to celebrate the CHIPS and Science Act. I'm grateful to our congressional delegation for fighting to get this bill over the finish line and onto the president's desk. For months, I've been advocating with a number of my colleagues on both sides of the aisle across the country to make sure that we would get this day, make sure that this day happened. Because we know that it's important for us to make things in America. I knew the impact that this would have on Michigan, and I am incredibly proud to see it passed. In a few minutes, I will be signing an executive directive to ensure that Michigan is ready for the influx of resources from the CHIPS and Science Act. This bipartisan legislation is a win for workers, it is a win for manufacturers, and it is a win for consumers. We're making a once-in-a-century investment in American industry, and we'll be bringing the supply chain from China to Michigan and to the rest of our nation. It will create and protect tens of thousands of good-paying jobs, and it'll help lower costs on everything from cars to dishwashers to medical devices and graphics cards. Now, the CHIPS and Science Act will have a significant impact on the state of Michigan. Everyone already knows that Michiganders make the best cars and trucks on the planet. Our legendary auto industry and generations of union families put Michigan on the map. But we also know the devastating impact that the chip shortage has been having on the auto industry, reducing production and idled plants, which have impacted over 575,000 auto-related jobs here in the United States. Last year, North American automakers lost an estimated 2.2 million vehicles, equaling over 3,000 days. But there are signs of hope, and that's what this is all about. Since I took office, we have announced 25,000 auto jobs and are, to quote Bloomberg, in the midst of a manufacturing boom. This year, we've announced a $7 billion investment from General Motors, creating and retaining 5,000 jobs, building electric vehicles and batteries. A $1.7 billion investment from LG Energy Solution, creating 1,200 jobs, building electric vehicle batteries and battery components. A $2 billion investment from Ford, increasing manufacturing capacity at several Southeast Michigan plants. And just yesterday, an $83 million investment from Stellantis into their Dundee engine complex here in Michigan. On top of these auto investments, Hemlock Semiconductor, a leading provider of high-purity polysilicon for the electronic and solar power industries, added 400 jobs. KLA, a semiconductor company, opened their headquarters in Ann Arbor, building on their Michigan presence and creating over 600 good-paying jobs. Bacher, a chemical and polysilicon firm, opened their cutting-edge innovation center in Washtenaw County, creating 3,000 jobs. And Pfizer, a Michigan stalwart, announced their expansion of their Kalamazoo plant to manufacture a COVID treatment, creating 250 jobs. So the first half of 2022 proves that Michigan is on the move. And with this CHIPS and Science Act, we can surge American manufacturing capacity and make up for lost time. I know that families are feeling the pain right now. Inflation, supply chain challenges are continuing to impact prices, increasing on everything from a pound of beef to a new PC. Once President Biden signs the CHIPS Act, the benefits will be felt far and wide and quickly. When we hear chips, we tend to think about cars. And while the benefit to the mighty auto industry is clear, chips have a widespread impact. They're the beating heart of countless devices and machines that we use every single day. This bill will mean humming factories and lower costs on electronics, medical devices, farm equipment, and cars for working families. The CHIPS and Science Act, over $50 billion for domestic manufacturing, R&D, and workforce development programs that represent a huge opportunity for workers. The semiconductor workforce is projected to need 90,000 more workers by 2025. That's tens of thousands of good-paying, high-skilled jobs that are in demand and will be for decades. We got started last year with a semiconductor wafer maker, SK Siltron, announced a Bay City facility, creating 150 jobs and bringing the supply chain home. Calumet yes, that's great. And all the way in the Keweenaw, Calumet Electronics, one of a few manufacturers producing organic components for microelectronics, announced an 80-job expansion. In the Keweenaw, that's a big deal. Michigan is leading in semiconductor R&D, thanks to companies like KLA, the Lori Nanofabrication Facility at the University of Michigan, bringing industry and students together to evolve how we make microchips. And we also launched the Semiconductor Apprenticeship Network Program to meet industry demand and talent in this critical field. So Michigan's putting the world on notice. With the executive directive that I will sign shortly, we will compete for every project, every program, and every resource. We will continue helping Michiganders get on tuition-free paths to good-paying jobs with great benefits, the kind that you can support a family on. We will play, and we will play to win, because that is what we do in Michigan. Our spirit of competitiveness and resilience is helping us move Michigan forward. So today, unemployment is low and small business growth is at a 24-year high. Our busiest construction season ever is underway as we fix the damn roads. And with the bipartisan budget I signed 2 weeks ago, my fourth, we have paid down nearly $14 billion in debt and not raised taxes by a dime since I took office. And best of all, we are home to the hardest working people, the most innovative companies in the world. And there are at least 6 to 8 weeks of decent weather left. That was a joke. Every day is a beautiful day in Michigan. But I want to thank our congressional delegation for their work on this legislation. Our labor friends are standing up for American workers and President Biden for his leadership. Now, let's get it done and keep our country and the state of Michigan moving forward. It is my distinct honor to introduce President Biden, who is joining us virtually.
Governor, thank you very much for the introduction. And there's no one I'd rather be working with at the state level than you.